Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from my very own channel Astro Assurance. Friends, before we go ahead, and I have said this in many of my videos earlier, if you find that my videos are helpful to you, they do help you answer some important questions in your life, then help that YouTube should also be able to promote these videos further by virtue of you liking this video and also subscribing to my channel and sharing this video. So when you subscribe to my channel and if you like our video more or you share the video, then YouTube also shares it or promotes it to others also, and through that and helping others also to be able to answer some questions in their life, you will be earning some good karma. So make use of this opportunity, subscribe to my channel, like my video, and earn some very good positive karma that you deserve. When we look at wealth, especially when we look at wealth from the D9 chart, we look at 3 or 4 combinations to be able to give us a lot of money. We, for example, look at the 5th house of gains. We also look at the 9th house of gains. We look at the 11th house, which can give you huge money, though maybe later in life it can get all of wishes and desires fulfilled as well. We look at the 2nd house. 2nd house is the house of earning, livelihood and saving, that which is liquid money which may be kept in the bank. We look at the 4th house. The 4th house is the house of assets. We look at property, lands, maybe vehicles, cars, jewelry, all sorts of appliances, all conveniences that money can buy. So we look at the 3 or 4 houses, and we also look at combinations of houses which can give us higher probability. For example, a combination of the 4th house and the 11th house can make all our wishes and desires come true in the matter of assets such as house, lands, vehicles. However, if 2nd and 11th house come together, then it can be huge gains through income that we get, the livelihood that we get, the savings that we make. If 2nd house, 7th house get together with the 11th house, for example, then we look at money coming from business, and so on. We look at combinations. However, we know that the D9 chart, the Lagna chart, the birth chart, is a chart of possibilities. However, the D9 chart is a chart of probabilities, that which is more probable to happen. So if we think that the D9 chart is a finer dissemination of what the D9 chart is giving us, then the D9 chart should also give us the finer dissemination of the wealth also. What could be the source of wealth, where the wealth will be coming from, and whether the source of wealth or the wealth itself will be huge or not, and what form of wealth we will get, whether we will get in assets or we will get in speculative investments or we will get in business and so on. So some finer aspects of the D9 chart will also tell us the source of wealth, the amount of wealth, and the kind of wealth also. So if we look at the D9 chart and we study it in depth, then some combinations of the D9 chart will also give us higher probability of making wealth, big wealth, astounding wealth also. Now in that light, I had also asked a question yesterday in one of my quizzes, giving you a combination of different houses. 3 houses each I have given and had given 5 combinations. For example, I had mentioned houses such as the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd house, whether if they are in combination they will give you big money. Then the 3rd, 4th and 5th house, whether that combination will give you big money or not, or the 6th, 7th and 8th house, or the 9th, 10th and 11th houses, and so on, whether any of these combinations, if you feel, will give you biggest source of money or biggest money. So people answered in different ways and different manners. Some mentioned about the 1st, 2nd and 3rd house. Now let me tell you firstly that each of these combinations is a big combination or a good combination of getting good money. However, some combinations stand out as the combinations which can give you higher probability of giving you bigger money. So let's take one by one these combinations. So the combination of the 1st house, the 2nd house and the 3rd house. The 1st house is the Lagna. The Lagna is more in terms of your purpose of life, your thought process, your character, your personality as seen by others, and your health, your decision making, the choices you make. So it's not only about the money, but after you get the money, how do people see you? So it is post how you make money that your stature in life may also increase as a person who is a wealthy person. The second house is surely the house of livelihood and income. So if you make huge money from the second house, then surely your first house will also grow in stature. That's how people will see you. And the third house is the house of self-enterprise, or how you will make money out of your own efforts, maybe doing something of your own, maybe doing business. So this is a good combination for making money. Definitely may not be the best one. Then I had asked you about the third, fourth and fifth house combinations in the D9 chart, whether this combination or synergy of energies between them or sharing of energies between them can give you good money. Now again, the third house is the house of your self-enterprise and effort, communication skills, how you will be making important choices in life. The fourth house is the house of assets, landed property, houses, cars, and so on. So fourth house is surely a house of those assets or that money which you have converted into tangible assets. Fifth house is the house of speculative gains, can be investing money in the stock market, the share market, or maybe investing money in some property as an investment source, or investing in cryptocurrency. There are various ways that you can invest through the fifth house as a speculative investment, including in business. So the third house is the house of self-enterprise, what you do on your own, which could also be business. Fourth house is the house of assets, and the fifth house is the house of speculative investments. However, the fifth house, whenever it comes into any combination, it also shows high risks that you take. So if the fifth house is great, the fourth house is strong, the third house is strong, then definitely this is also a good source of, or a good combination of making a lot of money. Then we talked about the 6th, 7th, 8th house. The 6th house is the opposite house to the 12th house. If the 12th house is the house of waste and excess or losing money, then the 6th house is obviously the house of gaining money. And this gaining of money is more about the day-to-day earning that you get, more through service. Even if you're doing business, but you're doing in a line where you're serving others through a product or a service, maybe giving internet connection or running an internet service, or being an internet service provider, you are doing service, yet you're doing business, making huge money out of that. So here the 6th house can come into the picture. 7th house is the house of partnership, working in partnership with others. So the 7th house is also a house where you can make money, but in lieu with or with others. Whereas the 8th house is the house of other people's money. But the 8th house, the house of other people's money, is more about you gaining money from other people in managing their wealth or using their wealth. Now somebody else will not give you money just like that. So usually this comes through inheritances or through insurances. So there is definitely some tricky component, some loss making component. On some way you may lose a partner, you may lose a father. There is some loss component also, or there is a suddenness component also in this, which you may not be able to control. Or making money from metals, or making money from agriculture, or making money from research or government contract. However, there is a limited source of money which you can make from the 8th house. So 6th, 7th, 8th house can also be a good source of money, though there are some upheavals, transformations, suddenness also involved. So this is also a tricky combination of making money, though some people can surely make good money out of this. Then another combination that we gave was the 12th house, the first house and the second house. Now the 12th house being the house of losses, or the house of armed services, hospitals, or connected to health services, or connected to foreign land. So the source of money that the 12th house gives you is very limited in a few areas only. So if you're doing very well in those areas, for example, you're a defense contractor, you're a defense supplier, you are in the business of health services, you run your own network of hospitals, or you supply medicines or surgical equipment or any equipment to hospitals, then there is a big source of money there. However, again, this is a very limited niche area which you can get more money out of. And the other component is foreign lands. Now, very few people can make business out of foreign lands unless have really invested a lot of money and you're really good in what you do, then surely this can be a huge source of money. Usually when the 12th house is very strong, you end up working for a foreign company, working in an MNC, working with foreign clients. So 90% of the time this is more about working for a company, working under somebody, working in foreign lands, working for foreign clients. How much money can you make working for somebody or working under somebody? So this is a good source of money, but not a great source of money unless you're doing business connected to maybe exporting your services, exporting your products also in foreign lands, or making your products available in foreign lands, maybe even with in a partnership if the 7th house getting involved. So 12th house is surely a house of making money. However, there is also a loss making component or a waste component or excess component involved. So this is surely a house of making money, huge money, but there is also a risk of may also get into losses. So if the 12th house is strong, you make a lot of money, then the Lagna is also strengthened, your reputation is also strengthened. But if the source of money is from foreign lands, and if the 2nd and the 12th house are sharing energies, then the wealth of money can be huge. So then in that case, the combination of the 12th house, the 1st house and the 2nd house can also give you big money. Now there are many combinations that you can talk about which can give you big money. But one of the combinations which got the highest votes, almost more than close to 79% votes, so almost 80% votes, was the combination of the 9th house, the 10th house and the 11th house in the D9 chart. And amongst the 5 that I gave you, this surely is the one which makes you the huge money. So I was presently very happy, but also surprised that almost 80% of the people chose the combination which actually gives you the money or big moolah. And the reason for this is simple. When you look at how the Navmansh is created or the D9 chart is created, we know that it is the 9th part of the 1st house, the 2nd house and so on, and the 9th part of a house gives you which is the final element of that particular house, that particular sign, and where that lies in your D9 chart, in the Navmansh chart. To give you an example, say your ascendant in your D1 chart is Aries, then what is the specific degree of the Lagna in the D1 chart? Say the Lagna is at 12th degree, then you need to check at the 12th degree in the 1st house in the Lagna, which is the Navmansh which is lying. So if we make 9 parts of for example, the Aries sign which is in the 1st house, if you are looking at Aries as the Lagna, then the 1st Navamsa is Aries, the 2nd Navamsa is Taurus, the 3rd Navamsa is Gemini, till we reach Sagittarius, which are the 9 parts. Each Navamsa is 3 degrees and 20 minutes. So the 12th degree will lie in the Cancer Navamsa, which means the 12th degree of the Aries sign, the 1st house, is in the Cancer Navamsa. That becomes the ascendant of your D9 chart. So remember this, if your ascendant is Aries at the 12th degree, then that 12th degree is the 4th Navamsa of the 1st house of your D1 chart, and that becomes your Lagna of the D9 chart, which is the Cancer Navamsa, and that becomes the ascendant of the D9 chart. So the ascendant of the D9 chart becomes Cancer. So the 12th degree, that's why specific degrees are very important. So if the 12th degree is the specific degree at which the Lagna lies in the D1 chart, then see where does the 12th degree of the 2nd house goes in your D1 chart, because the 2nd house is the house of your income, the livelihood and savings. Your income or your wealth is what you save, not what you spend also. So if you look at the 12th degree in your 2nd house in your Taurus sign, which is the 2nd house, you will find that the 12th degree in the 2nd house in the Taurus sign comes in the Aries Navamsa. So if the 12th degree in the 2nd house of earning lies in the Aries Navamsa, then see which other houses will have the 12th degree where the Aries Navamsa lies. You will find that the 6th house will have the 12th degree of the 6th house also has the Aries Navamsa, and the 10th house at the 12th degree will also has the Aries Navamsa, which means the 2nd house of income, livelihood, savings is sharing energies with the 6th house, and the 10th house. Now in your D9 chart, if Cancer is the ascendant, then which house has the Aries sign in the D9 chart? You will find that if Cancer is the ascendant of the D9 chart, of the Navmansh chart, then Aries sign energies go into the 10th house. So the 10th house in your D9 chart has the sum collation of energies of the second house of livelihood, income and savings of the D1 chart, plus the 6th house, plus the 10th house. So these three houses, second house, 6th house and 10th houses of the D1 chart, the sum collation of earning potential goes into the 10th house of your D9 chart, and hence the 10th house of your D9 chart is above the rest in terms of the ability of making money, the probability of making money, probability of making huge wealth. Obviously the 10th house alone in the D9 chart will not give you highest probability or the promise of making huge money. It has to be a combination of 2 to 3 different houses, and hence the 9th house, the house of gains in the Lagna chart, if you find the sum total of the Lagna, the 5th house and the 9th house of the Lagna chart, the D1 chart, the sum total of that energy will come into the 9th house of the D9 chart. And similarly the sum total of the 3rd house of your effort, your self-enterprise, the 7th house of partnership, making money with others, and the 11th house of mass social recognition, wishes and desires coming true, the sum total of all these three houses comes into the 11th house of your D9 chart. And hence if you have these three houses, the strongest or quite strong and sharing energies, the 9th house and the 10th and the 11th house of the D9 chart, then these can become the biggest source of wealth, as long as some good Raj Yogas are associated with them in the D1 chart. In the D1 chart, any of these house lords don't get into trouble, are not with malefics, are not in bad doshas, then if they are well placed in the D9 chart also, then there is one of the biggest promises of making wealth, biggest probabilities of making wealth. So remember this, the 9th house, 10th house and 11th houses, they are lords. If they are very well placed versus the 9th house, 10th house, 11th house lords in the D1 chart, they are also well placed, then you have a stronger probability and promise of making wealth. So when I'm talking about the placement of the planets in the D9 chart, so I'm talking about the placement of the D9 house lords and D9 itself, and I'm talking about the placements of the D1 house lords within the D1. I'm not talking about one place in the other, though that combination also gives you good money. I will come out with a different video of how the placement of one into the other also makes some areas more probable also. Not that I have not made videos on that, I have already made videos around that, but one video will also make specifically connected to wealth of how the D9 chart's placement in the D1 chart can also give you higher probability and a specific area where you can make huge money from. So friends, there are different combinations which can make you huge money, big money, when you look at the D9 chart and specific houses, their lords, specifically if they are going to good houses, good signs, good yogas also, and are not under any affliction. There could be other combinations also. The combinations, for example, the 2nd house, 4th house and the 10th house in the D9 chart, or the 4th house, the 5th house and the 11th house in the D9 chart. There are many combinations which can also give you big money. For example, the 2nd house, 4th house and the 10th house can give you huge money, big assets, savings in the bank, good livelihood also. So overall, wherever you have a promise of making huge wealth in the D9 chart, you will have to see a synergies of synergies, complementary forces coming together, good yogas also connected to those houses and planets in the D1 chart, and less or no affliction both in the D1 chart and the D9 chart. Then the zodiac gives you a possibility and a probability of making huge money if you use the probability and work hard in that direction and use it to your advantage. So friends, check your own horoscope, check how the D1 chart house lords are placed in different houses, how they are getting connected to the D9 chart, how the D9 chart houses are giving you through a combination of synergies of energies and complementary forces where the huge money or wealth can come from. Work in that direction and make good the promise that the zodiac is giving you. So like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.